Rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Prior to opening the meeting, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the 44 Orange County residents that lost their lives on 9/11. Before I open the meeting, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Gallo for a moment.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few words on this day. As a wife of a New York City fireman, other than the day my father died, September 11th remains the worst day of my life. It was a day that shocked our country and terrified the world. Today, on the 24th anniversary of September 11th, let us all remember the lives lost on that day. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, and children. Let us remember the fire departments, police departments, our military, and other first responders that died trying to save others. Those individuals that raced to the World Trade Center to try and dig for victims at Ground Zero, at first looking for survivors, then for months searching for their bodies to bring them home to their families. We remember not only the thousands of lives lost on that day, but the hundreds more that have died since then and continue to suffer with illnesses as a result of that devastation. In a quote from the Roman poet Virgil, "No day shall erase you from the memory of time," a phrase that is displayed at the National September 11th Memorial Museum to honor the victims of the terrorist attacks on 9/11. We will never forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Could I have a motion to open the town board meeting September 11th?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda is to review and discuss introductory law number 6 of 2025 entitled Chapter 89 Vehicles and Traffic. Rob Remeda is here to present the review of the law. No action will be taken tonight. It's discussion only. At the next meeting, we will approve the local law and set a public hearing. Rob, turn it over to you.
Thank you. Robert Remeda, Town Special Prosecutor for the Vehicle and Traffic. I have before the board proposed amendments to the current Chapter 89 of the Town Code, Vehicle and Traffic. The original code I felt was somewhat antiquated. It was limited to snow emergencies, parking, certain municipal parking areas, and weight limits. After further discussion with the board, local PD, as well as my limitations on special prosecution, which I'll get into, what I had proposed was infusing into Chapter 89, it would be an additional 50 sections. Those additional 50 sections are those sections of the vehicle and traffic law that are most commonly violated here in the town of Goshen. Again, that was with direct input from town PD. In particular, Sergeant Edwards was integral in preparing this with me. A few things that brought this about. One, that the catalyst was I found that the fines under the current town code were not a sufficient deterrent. And some of the fines were almost, I viewed it, almost the cost of doing business. Some of the commercial infractions, they'd rather just pay the fine than right? That's what I saw. So I was like, well, if I agree, I would. So that was the catalyst to get us to open this up a little bit. And then, having done so much of this special prosecution, we all have seen when you get pulled over, it's rarely just one ticket that you're getting. It could be a speed along with a turning, signal violation or failed to pay traffic control device. So it felt incongruent not to add those additional sections, because you would be having a defendant before the town court that is written for some New York State VTL violations, and then some that could fall under the town code. The officers weren't writing it that way, right? So here it gives them the opportunity to write it all under the town code, vehicle and traffic, and on a everyday basis dealing with this on a weekly basis, seeing the defendants in front of me, at this point a few thousand, they want to know what their fine is, right? And the difference here now is that there would be no surcharge. There is no surcharge in the town code. So the money that they would be paying would be just for the town. And what else I like about this, it also gives flexibility for future adjustments, right? So when we are limited on the amount of fines by what the state can fine, that's fine, but it also gives the board the flexibility to adjust as opposed to being confined to the way that New York State wants us to enforce our laws. Vehicle and Traffic Law 1800 specifically says we are limited to the manner by which we can enforce, no stricter than the state. However, Vehicle and Traffic Law 1660 specifically says the town still has deference to enforce its own sections. So before the board is the original Chapter 89. For your convenience, what I did was I took the original fines and I changed them to what was permissible, and I put that in red font. Then when you go further into the document, you will see, starting at section 89-21, everything from 89-21 through 89-70 are the new proposed revisions infused from the New York State VTL, which are commonly used. Again, I had the assistance of law enforcement when we were doing this. As an aside, I noticed a few typos when I was reading this, so I will have that corrected immediately. So those are all new. I didn't bother to put those in red font just for the reader's eyes. And then the last section, section 89-71, also very important, gives the town the ability to tow as well, the local PD as well as the superintendent. So I welcome any questions you have. I feel that this will be a better deterrent because it increases the fines. That was the catalyst, and overall it's more comprehensive means by which we can enforce the vehicle and traffic law. Thank you.
Anything from the board?
I had a couple of questions.
I do too.
It's not numbered, but I just figured I think it's page, I numbered it page 8. No, it's
What's
fine.
the code?
Under new articles and proposed sections.
Okay.
Yeah, again, you had the typo there, for the instead of 3, I assumed.
Yep.
And then on page 9, my question was, and again, maybe I just don't, it says for unregistered motor vehicles, the fine for an expired registration of less than 60 days is between 40 and 300. Would that be, whose discretion would that be in terms of the fees that are allotted? Would that be judges or what?
That still is left to the town justice, and
Okay.
and that fine ranging is taken directly from the state. We're not allowed to do more. I will continue to monitor the fine ranges to the extent they change. I would then reach a point where I would seek town approval to change that as well.
Okay, and then also, I guess it would be page 12.
Okay.
It's section 89-52.
Okay.
It says speeding in excess of posted limits.
Yes.
And then underneath, you have 89-53, the traffic driving too slowly. But it doesn't give any, is there a speed limit? It doesn't clarify what the speed limit would be. Like you see over the limit in 52, but 53 doesn't have an under the limit. Is that again at the discretion?
So that is at the discretion of the police officer.
Police officer.
Correct.
Okay.
To the extent that it impedes traffic. What I will do, because that's a fair question, because now reading this, I think I've done it, but I will reassure that this mirrors the state VTL. I just actually had one of these tickets recently in a different municipality. It is up to the discretion of the law enforcer. It's based upon discretionary if you're going at a minimum speed, which is affecting the flow of traffic.
Right. Okay. I just said it's specified above, but it didn't specify below.
I noticed that, and I'll be the first to admit when I see the difference,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty confident that 8953 mirrors what the state says,
Okay.
but
That's
I'll be the first to admit when I am hedging a
Yeah,
little bit.
I was
will
just
confirm
curious.
that. Yes,
And
absolutely.
then I have 2 more things. So 89-59,
Okay.
the use of portable electronic devices while driving, do they specify what that would be? I mean, obviously you have mobile telephones above, but is it like iPads? I mean, is that, do they specify? I'm just curious what.
Sure. And that's a fair point. What we're going to do is we're going to add a definition section, because and again, that definition section will just again take it right from the VTL. Because
Okay.
portable direct electronic device can include a GPS.
Okay, perfect. And then the last thing I had was 8962, front seat under 7, not in a child restraint seat. It says, and it's in bold, the fine for this violation is not specified in the provided sources, so is that something that?
That I'm looking into.
Okay,
Correct, yeah.
okay.
Um,
Thanks, Rob. I
My
just,
pleasure, yeah.
those are the questions I had.
Yes. So, pretty much this mirrors the New York State law, I presume.
Correct.
And in mirroring the New York State law, when they write the traffic violation, do they have to refer to it as town law and not New York State law? I mean, is there,
It does.
how do they differentiate?
It does. It's going to be not New York State ETL, it'll be section, town code, section 89, and then it'll say, usually it's like a TC 89-51, whatever it is, something like that.
And that's what they'll put on the ticket, so
Correct.
we'll know it's using town law and not state law.
Correct.
Okay.
Different ticketing system also, isn't
Correct.
What? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what did you say?
it? Different ticketing system.
Correct.
That's what I'm asking right now.
And because right now, the officers will be using a paper ticket where they'll be filling out in hand until we can automate that. We're in the process of trying to establish a more,
We did that
User-friendly.
today, Rob.
oh, you did?
Yeah, we were able to format a online, 2-page, PDF that's writable. So Eddie's working on that to get it on everybody's computer.
Thank you.
Good. On page 1, 89-2, with storage and charges,
Yeah.
and it says that I'm not sure how we arrive at this, but the expense actually necessary to incur effecting such removal charges not to exceed $50. Now, when we're talking about removal, are we talking about towing?
No,
Removing
tow-
the vehicle?
Towing is separate. I'm gonna pull up the current town code.
Right, I'm just, in reading this
Yeah.
particular section,
Never for one second, that's 89 Yeah, that, I had to look into it,
right,
that's what else jumped off the page to me, because the current 89-2 was not to exceed $25. It's like, that can't be right. So, this mirrors the New York State law.
but what is the $50? That's not the tow expense, is that just a fine? Because I couldn't really interpret that.
Sure, it's definitely not the towing expense.
It
So
looks
you
to
might
me
wanna
like
include that.
the removal of the vehicle, the charges are $50. Let's read it one more time.
It says
Sure.
after removal,
It says highway superintendent of the amount of all expenses actually
Yeah, so,
and necessarily incurred in effecting such removal.
Yeah, I think.
Such removal charge should not exceed $50, so.
together with storage charges.
I think you should add with the exception of towing.
Because that, if it's all of the necessary effecting such removal, which part of the charge is towing, then the whole thing is not to exceed $50. Or, I'm not sure, that's why I'm asking, I might misinterpret that.
But your concerns are well received, because to the extent that there's gonna be any uncertainty, a defense counsel will pick right up on that and
Oh,
say,
yeah.
the tow charge is limited to
Yeah.
50, so
it
I
says
will,
after removal.
I owe you a clear answer. The fact that it even can be suggested otherwise is sufficient that I will be sure to clarify that.
Yeah, okay, good,
I
thank you.
think it means though, after it's removed, they're gonna store it.
That's my,
It starts off after
Yeah.
removal.
No, I
That's a
think
separate-
this charge was to the highway department. If Broderick calls
Yeah,
to have something removed, highway gets $50.
that's how I read it. The fact that two,
However-
yeah, correct,
However-
after removal, so
Yeah.
that's actually how I read it, just like Mr. Florio, and the fact that you're introducing a different interpretation,
yes,
having done the defense side for a number of years,
sure.
I think it's be prudent for me just to, I'd like to go back and see how that mirrors in the state. If there may be no change, because I think it is the reading regarding the storage, but I'd rather err on the side of caution to give you a
Okay,
clear
well,
answer.
You know, I tried to read it the other way, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, when it says all expenses incurred, that just stops the whole thing and talks about $50, and I know the towing expenses are a hell of a lot more than that. Okay, so you'll look at that.
Thank you.
You know, just a little housekeeping item, on 89-5.2, the second line, it says, articles shall be guilty of an offense punishable by a fine of not more then of not more than $150. I think we got too many of not
Yeah, I do
more.
have too many now.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for the clarification
Yeah.
as to why we're doing this. And
Absolutely.
just that one interpretation. I got some others, but I could figure those out myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rob, if you go back to 8920, also the sentence after not to exceed $50 is a little confusing too, because it says
Right.
the storage service charge is not to exceed $15 a day.
Right.
But if it's there oh.
That's cheap.
Yeah, so is that above and beyond the $50 removal?
Correct.
It
And let
is,
me go
okay.
back to, and so that reads exactly the current section 89-2, this is verbatim except the red font that I changed.
Okay,
And it's currently $25 and $5 per day.
okay.
What I saw is that we could increase, so this 89-2 is verbatim under the current amount, and I had read it to mean this was, after, when the highway department was involved.
Right, but I was just curious as to where that storage applies. Is it on town property? Or only because if you go to a body shop, it's $150 a day or $200 a day?
Yeah.
I understood it to be, for, if the highway superintendent, on one of their facilities where they're storing it. Just like sometimes
If you
in
go
town.
down, if you go down to PD right now, I don't know if you haven't been there a while, we
Uh-huh.
cleared out that whole area now, so that's now the retention area for any vehicles that are impounded, locked behind the gate,
Right,
You know,
and we're
we get
charging
them.
$15 a day for that.
storage, yes.
So I'm not even sure if that, if that mirrors New York State, I understand it, but I'm not sure if that even covers the insurance liability on any of those cars that are stored there.
I will confirm that.
Okay, that's all. I saw that too, but I didn't want to bring it up. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a issue with trucks and overweight trucks.
We do.
I noticed you did that, the 5 tons.
Yeah.
Is there adequate language either in here or what we have already to do that enforcement? Because I think there's going to be a push now to enforce that on board. So are we all set with that?
It is in here.
It is, and that was the catalyst right there, was when I was talking about insufficient fines, and deterrent costs of doing business, these commercial trucks would drive through, and I was, when I'm getting calls, and you look at the fine range, and I said, well, it's gonna be worth their time just to pay it then, so
Yeah.
I will,
Right.
here, let me pull up that section.
And they're pretty significant, the fines.
No.
And so,
Yeah, 150, 300, 450?
correct, and there was 2 ways we could have gone about this, was, let's look at how it goes.
Yeah, it was Article 5, weight limits.
8920.
Yeah,
Correct. 89, 90, yeah, 89,
19,
correct.
20.
And there was a few ways we could have gone about this. Section 385 of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law actually has a very complicated formula where there is a fine range based on the percentage by which the vehicle is overweight, from like 2% up, and the fine could be as low as 150, high as like 7,000 or something like
Right.
that. But it was not possible to have that for the town's codes enforcement, because we don't have the ability to weigh those trucks. So, so working with law enforcement, we are well within the state, law to do it this way, where we set the minimum, which is the 150, because that is what, and we are allowed to, expound, double and then triple for subsequent offense. And I do believe, especially since we have frequent flyers, we know who the trucks are going through,
Absolutely.
that maybe the first time it won't bite as much, but the second and third time certainly will.
So, and is the 450 a maximum if they do this 5 times or 10 times?
It is, but it's gonna be 450
Each time.
every time. That's quite an expensive trip for them then.
Well, yeah, I had issue with that too, because it's $150 is really not a deterrent, because you have to catch them. And they go back and forth all the time.
Agreed.
I just didn't know if we can impose a larger deterrent.
The only way to impose a larger deterrent would be to mirror the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, Section 385, and just
Okay.
for the board's edification, we looked into this. I did not find one municipality in Orange County that way. I certainly could say, I mean, I looked at the code for the town of Newburgh, I looked at the code also for the town of New Windsor, the town of Wallkill, you know, major thoroughfare. Nothing. They all had a set amount, and in fact, their fines, I believe, were lower than this. Like, we weren't the only ones. I did find one. It was the town of Lockport. I believe it's in Long Island, a major thoroughfare where they just basically said in one sentence, the fines would be calculated in accordance with was that 385 subdivision 9 of the vehicle and traffic law. That's the whole weighing. But we would need a very complicated system for weighing these vehicles, well beyond what we need to, I believe, and speaking with PD, that we're asking for.
But we can increase the flat rate of the first offense?
Not that I
Because
found.
once
I
again,
won't.
That's not a deterrent, it really isn't.
No, the first one isn't.
Yeah.
The first one isn't.
Yeah,
I
okay.
agree.
You know, we don't want them on the roads, ruining our roads. It costs us so much more, but, okay. So if we're limited at that, we're limited at that.
The second thing I had was, I guess, is it Broderick and the police that went over all of the areas that are supposed to have stop signs?
So the stop signs I incorporated, I made no changes. I having worked with Sergeant Edward and the PD, getting their feelings on it, they didn't, I received positive feedback when it came to that. It was just a fine amount. So in that regard, the current code was sufficient, and in fact, I've been enforcing it. It's working.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, you know, as you're saying, some smart attorney might say, well, on this list, XYZ street, you didn't have it listed here, so therefore, my person's not guilty.
Possibly. That is a fair point. If you're asking if we should double check what's in here to confirm, certainly, absolutely.
That's what I'm suggesting, either Broderick or, I guess, Broderick.
If all the stop signs are in
Because-
place?
Because we have put some other stop signs out, I mean, in recent times, haven't we?
We have to do it by local law, so it
Right.
would be listed in our code.
Code.
Yeah, so then that would be in,
It
Goes
should-
up,
It would be updated.
Correct. And in fact, if you look under, now I'm thinking about this, when you look under 89, chapter 89 in the E361 online, it makes reference to those stop signs, and I'm recalling there being different dates of when it was amended.
You added Owens Road relatively recently.
Oh, yeah, so 89-5, the stop on, yeah, so that graph, kind of the chart you saw there, I mean, if you look under, if you, I just removed it for the purposes of this draft, but when you look online, at the E code, each one of these roads makes reference to amended 2022, amended 2023, amended 2020, so, just as Ms. Riso said, each time it gets adopted by the board, it gets incorporated. So if that holds true, there shouldn't be any discrepancy, but it wouldn't hurt to ask, absolutely.
that's all I had, Joe.
All right, thanks, Rob, appreciate it. So, as I said before, we'll set the public hearing at the next meeting. Ask for you to return to the next meeting also.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Next item on the agenda is review and discuss introductory law number 5 of 2025 entitled Tax Levy Limit Override. So as we discussed in the last meetings, this is a precautionary measure that we take in the event that we can't stay below the 2% cap. Only precautionary right now, we don't have a budgetary number set. We're working through it now. I know that it is definitely under double digits. It's in the single digit range right now. And I'm working with the budget officer to try to see if we can move it to as close as we can to the 2%, if not under the 2%. We should have a final, well, I just delivered to everybody. I just forwarded to the council people today, the preliminary one. And then once it's, their comments come into it, see if we can reduce any more, then we'll put it up on the web and when do we have to have this done, everybody?
September 25th, the
Public hearing?
preliminary will be done. It won't be the public hearing until the next
Next
one.
month, okay. right, so this is just a motion to approve the ILL number 5 of 2025, and to set the public hearing for Thursday, September 25th at 7 o'clock. Any comments, any questions? No?
It's the same one we did last year, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably something that we'll do every year.
Yeah.
So could I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is review and approve the event permit application for Wagon Wheel Farm on October 4th and 5th and October 11th and 13th, 2025. As I understand it, all departments have reviewed the application and it's good to go. Please have, Broderick has.
Yeah, everybody signed off, insurance is okay?
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Well, as I said this afternoon, the packet I got,
No,
it wasn't
yeah,
signed off.
they have to
But even
come
the
in.
one, I looked at the one that you just sent this to us this evening, and they're not signed off on that
No,
one
it
either.
was the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have it all signed before we issue.
I just wanna
the
make sure that,
permit.
yeah, everybody's
Yeah,
signed
but
off.
we got verbal confirmation from every department.
Today. Any other questions from the board?
No.
So can I have the motion to approve the event permit for Wagon Wheel on October 4th and 5th and 13th, 11th and through the 13th?
With the proper signatures, I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the town board minutes of August 28th. Any questions on it?
I'll make the motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Finance. Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run September 11, 2025 in the amount of, I have it online.
Oh, $392,573.45.
As Mary said. I have that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay a manual AP run on August 31st, 2025 in the amount of $32,480.93.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to approve the budget transfers as requested by the budget officer as of September 11, 2025. Budget, the report's in there, it's a movement from the, that we move on a constant basis from either the New York class, where we store most of the money at a higher interest rate back into it, or from the budget line to another budget line. But it's in here and attached. If anybody wants to see a copy of it, we'll be glad to give it to you. Have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then for information only, the budget officer did an AP review August 31st, 2025, and September 11, 2025, and it is attached.
Okay, yep,
All right,
very good.
privilege of the floor.
Good evening, my name is Chris Haley, I'm a resident of the town of Goshen. Start my comments this evening with a heartfelt thank you to Councilmember Gallo for the very kind and deep words. I think they could probably only be felt or spoken by somebody who went through it. I thank you for all you said. Moving on, having these meetings recorded and saved on YouTube is a blessing and a curse, I think. It's a blessing for me that I can go back and see what was said, and it's probably a curse for you that I can go back and see what was said. At the last meeting, I mentioned that there was a budget line item in the millions for the proposed commercial water district, and I drew a few blank stares. So I went back. It was November 14th, 2024. At 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 15 seconds into the video, Mr. Supervisor, you opened a discussion on the capitalization plan and multi-year financial plan. And you asked if any board member had an issue with the report. Councilman Lyons spoke right up and he said he was very concerned with the $10 million item that was earmarked for the proposed commercial water district. And he went on to say that he had grave concerns about the prospect of high-density housing that could follow an unlimited water source. So my point from the last meeting was, for as many times as I've asked about the status of this once proposed district, and for as many times as I've been told there's nothing happening, as a taxpayer this year, I would expect not to see any mention of or funds set aside for a new water district. That was what the point I was trying to get to last time around.
Understood.
Okay? And you did say that the budget is coming out, and I look forward to seeing that. The second thing that I wanted to speak of was that some years ago, the town board voted to allow the battery energy storage systems in Goshen. We now have an application for a BEST facility. At recent meetings, residents asked about the safety of these battery storage systems, and I've heard board members talk about using foam as an extinguishing agent. I want to remind everyone that New Leaf Energy has made a few presentations here to the town, and each time their answer to a fire has been, let it burn. A battery fire is not like burning paper or wood. A battery fire is an exothermic chemical reaction that makes its own oxygen. Foam doesn't work, water doesn't work, Purple K doesn't work. The National Fire Protection Association is the NFPA. That's the body that every fire department uses for guidance on equipment and procedures. And the NFPA says, let it burn. Supervisor Betro, you made the comment that New Leaf is using the newest technology available, and I'm sure words just like that were used in Warwick a few years ago. Best available doesn't mean safe. It just means it's as good as we have right now. Everyone in the fire service says foam doesn't work. Everyone in the fire service says let it burn. The full sentence is actually let it burn for days or weeks while toxic fumes permeate the air and you may have to evacuate the surrounding area. I just want to say that talk of foam or sprinklers is just marketing. Please don't fall for it. Thank you.
Agree. I don't know where they stand right now in the planning process. Maybe Neil could shed some light on that when he speaks, but.
They just came through planning, and they are looking to get a joint planning and zoning public hearing. So they're kicking right along.
I think they really went through ZBA, right?
ZBA.
Right.
And they're
Wasn't
asking
there,
for,
if I may, wasn't there an issue with where the planning board was looking for them to get more property from TAM?
There's a whole thing, the last time they've been in front of the planning board, it's been months now anyhow. I think they went to the ZBA, Chris said, just the last meeting. Secret has not been completed, they have not come back to the planning board in a long time. So as far as the planning board is concerned, it's just sitting there dead.
and they're asking for 4 variances. They need setbacks and 100% variance from the road frontage requirement.
Did you say they were at the ZBA already?
I think that just the other night, September 2nd.
Did they get, were they,
They made a presentation
Oh.
requesting the 4 variances, and the ZBA's, they've requested to get a joint planning board ZBA meeting so that they can move forward with the project.
However, the ZBA meeting was not an actual meeting because there was no quorum.
They didn't have a quorum, but
they didn't have a quorum?
Right, so they
It
had a meeting kind of, but,
wasn't a meeting, it wasn't a vote, they have to come back.
yeah.
If I
start
remember,
over.
they only made one presentation here,
They did.
and we were totally concerned
Yeah.
about
Exactly what you said.
being able to suppress the fire, and the more research I did, the more I found out that that's just, they do not have the technology. They could not supply us with the data, and I did not want to encourage them to go any further with that.
Agreed.
Apparently they did, but I just wanted to make that
As a-
clear that I didn't encourage them to spend any money going through this process.
they've been to zoning, planning, and town board.
Well,
And as I remember, it took you about 5 minutes to get the applicant to admit that let the fire consume itself meant let it burn. He didn't want to say that, and you got him to finally say it. It took a while,
yeah,
but
okay, so
Yeah, I don't know.
they're gonna have to come here for a special use permit.
I'm just curious, what is the likelihood of a fire? I mean, we're all talking about fire, but do they just explode?
it's a great question,
Yeah.
Mr. Florio,
Yeah.
and I will say that I've done some of the numbers, I've been really looking into it, and while the technology is getting better, it still fails on occasion, and it's not really because of user error or installation error. It's just it's the nature of the beast. It's the exothermic reaction, these batteries generate a tremendous amount of heat. We're talking about megawatts of electricity. It's just a new technology, we're just not there yet. It's power windows in the 1980s.
And then what would happen is, and I made that clear at the last meeting, that, for instance, the forest fires in California, they were forest fires, but when they burned up the EVs, the vehicles, And the bomb squads had to come in, and those cells are very small. They had to deal with each of the cells because they will explode and let toxic material into the air. So they had to use the bomb squads on all these EVs
Wow.
to decommission them, and it was incredible. So what can happen is if there's a fire, God forbid, or anything like that, or anything, then
Just burns.
it's just an incredible disaster. And we, at the master plan meetings, did a lot of research. Phil Dropkins pulled up a lot of research. And we're gonna recommend, one of our recommendations is that we do not allow battery storage in the town of Goshen. And that'll be coming soon,
Eliminate the overlay district?
in any district.
No, but I'm sorry, the only district we have is the overlay
The overlay
district.
district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was ever even
Yeah, yeah.
enacted, quite honestly, but
Yeah, but anyway, that's gonna be our recommendation, but.
on the comprehensive review board, what you're doing right now?
Yeah, we
Great.
spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, I share your concerns.
Okay, good.
And the people out there where it is have called multiple times.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna let it ride for now until hopefully the planning board doesn't approve it. But if they do, they're gonna come to us and they're gonna ask some serious questions in front of us.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Thank you.
okay.
Would anybody else like this?
Yeah.
Any other?
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed the last meeting. I understood about the last meeting. Somebody made a comment that we're gonna have growth in the town of 168 new houses and 3,000 people. I know, from what I heard, you looked rather confused about it, Phil, as to where those numbers are coming from.
168 new homes, yeah.
New homes, okay.
Yeah.
And there was a number of 3,000 people?
No, I
Okay.
think somebody said the average was 3 people per home.
2.7, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how you get 0.7, but
So I'm missing the 0.7 in my house. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we weren't
Yeah, no.
looking at about 3,000 people.
Yeah.
The only other thing I have is a bunch of comments on the law, and their weight limits. I wonder if we can do, instead of having to weigh the vehicles, whether we can do based on what they're registered. If you're registered for 20,000 pounds, can that be considered to be overweight or not? Towing, I know the price for towing, at least one for snow removal stuff, was $25. You're not gonna get anybody to respond for $25, much less hook up a vehicle and all the liability for it. So certainly that has to go up higher. There is also, at this point in time, there's a law in the town that's never been enforced, and the police, I understand, don't want to enforce it, I understand it, is that you can't park on town streets, anywhere in the town.
between November 16th and...
No, I believe it's anytime,
Really?
yes, okay?
Signs, I know in Hamiltonian Park are seasonal.
Yeah, I believe, I believe the code says absolutely no parking anytime on town roads. The police absolutely are not gonna enforce that, and rightfully so, I think, because nobody coming into town is gonna know that.
Right,
If I'm visiting a town, I can park there and I can get the ticket or whatever.
right.
I certainly think the other answer, obviously, if we really want that law, we should just go ahead and start putting up no parking signs.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a reasonable law, because if you're having a barbecue at your house on Latonian Park and you have your driveway handles 2 cars.
I would
Right.
try
I
to,
guess you're only inviting you and your husband, that's it.
Well, that's why I was confused, because we had the seasonal signs, so I assumed it had to do with snow removal. snow
That's what I thought. I thought it was November
I think
15th.
it's
April.
November they
In
put
the
it up.
village, it's not.
But I do
Right.
We do have
remember
an
someone
ordinance.
else talking about that, because it was the Airbnb thing.
yeah,
And I think it was the doctor, he had said that there's no parking on town streets, that was a law.
I know when we were talking about Heritage Estates approving that, I was at least trying to get us to at least put no parking signs
Yeah.
at the beginning of Heritage Estates.
Right.
So people could read it. If you want, Rob, I can try to find that for you and send it to you.
Please, because I know it, the code authorizes the town board to designate specific roads or segments for no parking, and certainly during the snow and the times of year. As for a blanket, you can't park on town roads,
I think,
I do not doubt your reading, I'm just, embarrassed to say I'm hearing this for the first time. So certainly if it's there, it'd be something else that I'd like to bring to the board's attention.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Chris just gave me this, and I think it might be the code that we're looking for, it's 89-6, parking prohibited. Parking within the town of Goshen on any highway or any right-of-way located adjacent thereto is strictly prohibited. I don't know.
Adjacent to the village, or adjacent to the town of Goshen outside the village.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Yeah, I got it here.
Thank you.
okay. Unfortunately, I didn't see this law, so I'm doing this off the top of my
Parking
head.
prohibited.
It says a
89.6.
highway,
Wow.
oh, okay, I was confused because it says highway or any right of way located adjacent thereto.
We'd have to look at the definitions, I don't,
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to see
of
the
a highway.
definition of highway.
yeah,
It almost
so,
sounds like a side road.
I'm not sure, it's always been taken as always, you can't park anywhere in town, but it's also been that the police have never enforced it,
Yeah, but I was gonna say, I don't think that's what it says in the code.
okay?
No, it says any
Within the
highways
town or
other
any
than
highway or any
any
right
county
of way.
road.
Or adjacent there too.
Thereto, which to me would be side road.
Okay. Can we set the fines, and I'm asking the question, can we set the fines the same way we set the fees in the town? For fees in the town, we have that so that the town board can update those and change those by motion, not having to go through a whole new law.
Yes.
Okay, so,
You can, but with the caveat that the
Not to
increases
exceed
can't
state.
exceed, yes,
Not
correct.
to exceed state.
Thank you.
okay, but as long as we can do that without having to pass a new law each time.
And that's what I was trying to say when
Yeah.
it came to the flexibility of future amendments. That's what makes it even easier.
All right.
Correct.
Okay, the other thing is sometimes, I know the state police have a set of fees that they do for towing, you can charge this much for towing, this, that, and everything else. It may help to look at that to see what they have. I think they have 100, I don't know the numbers
That's a
at all.
towing policy.
It's but there's also,
PD.
storage and everything else.
Yeah, that's with the towing policy.
Right, but we may wanna look at that because that may reflect something here.
Appreciate it.
In the past, the police have allowed drivers who are gonna get impounded, they ask, how much is it gonna cost for the tow tire? That's up there, and they, oh, that's too much, well, I'll just follow them home. I don't know if that's still happening or not,
I don't know either.
okay, so we may just wanna look at that and ask them how that goes. A fee of not more than $150, I think Phil said it, and I think $150 is chump change for many people.
Are you referring to overweight?
For almost anything. And $150, for some of us, it's deadly. My daughter or whatever, my children, grandchildren may have a real tough time paying $150. Or for some people, as somebody said, I'll pay that every day. In fact, I'll pay it in the morning and then I'll go ahead
So
and make my,
the only
overweight.
the only issue they're gonna have is, we have 2 police officers that will be trained pretty soon without having to go with the state. And if it becomes habitual, they're gonna be out there and that truck's gonna end up going through an intense review. If they wanna continue to,
Yeah.
go down Gate Schoolhouse Road to cut through to get to the dump and places like that, there will be repercussions that cost them a lot more than $150.
And may I also add the following, is that your concerns about the monetary limits are well received, and certainly the more happens, it will be worth, it will be an effective deterrent as it goes along and compounds. If necessary, and this is what we were trying to avoid, if necessary, and if the officers still have the right to issue tickets under the VTL, and under the VTL, there would be points associated, and those drivers have CDL license, so those drivers would
No, it's a good
lose their
point.
license, and that's not something we don't wanna have to hurt these drivers, because they're on the, but you better believe, when the officer warns them on time 3, you do this again, we're running the VTL, and it won't be seeing you for a long time, it won't happen.
So I can tell you that the first time seatbelt laws came out, I never bothered worrying about it at all, and because of the fines. However, when they started saying they're gonna give you points for it, that woke me up.
And that's why, and it would affect, because there's it's the masking laws, even when they come up, the masking law says that if someone has a CDL license, if they come before me, for a pointable offense, I am confined to offer them a plea that includes points. It can't be a parking ticket, and I'm facing it often. So that driver will know that it isn't just his boss paying it. Next time he gets pulled over, he might not have his license anymore.
Right. So that was the other question on repetitive occurrences, whether that's repetitive by the company or repetitive by the driver.
It's by the driver. Yep, and in fact, all of these, well, that's just what it is. When you operate a motor vehicle, irrespective of who the owner is, you assume liability for that vehicle, just whether it's not yours or not, whether it's unregistered or uninspected, it's overweight, So it is driver liability.
Okay. Then the next question was, is the violation per day or per trip?
And in fact, let me just add to that
Okay.
last, there are times when when a company owns a vehicle, we can do something called a corporate substitution on consent with the, and we'd like when this happen, when the owners of those companies come and say, you know, this was my driver, he was doing what I said, we'll do a corporate substitution, I will plead guilty, the driver is exonerated. So I should have just qualified my last name by saying that. Repeat your last question, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, and that's maybe the way to do it. Violations, is the violation per day or per trip? In other words, if I drive up and down Gates Schoolhouse Road with my truck, is it every time I drive up and down I can get a
It's
ticket?
per ticket.
Per
Yeah,
ticket, per
that's
occurrence.
fine, yeah.
Well, it's per occurrence, but I
Correct,
know it's.
and I'll tell you, there's times where I get someone in front of me where they actually have more than one speeding ticket.
Sure.
They have committed the offense of more additional speeds, even though it's one transaction in occurrence. So to answer your question, each time they go back and forth, absolutely.
Okay, because I think some people certainly believe that, hey, I got the ticket for that already. Particularly like DOT violations, sometimes I think go for the day.
No, not this one.
Okay, good, that's good enough. All right, thank you very much.
So while we're on it, Rob, if you don't mind, I forgot to ask, I wanted to make a note of it, and I didn't write it down, and I should have. In mirroring our town law, the violations that are ticketable and add points to the license, if they write it under the town law, there are no points added to their license.
There are no points associated, but that is what would happen to that driver would be a pretty clear warning. You do this again, we're doing a VTL in New York State, and we
Right.
can't stop the pointing if we wanted to.
Right, so you write it under a different,
Yeah, and then
that's,
you gotta believe that driver.
that's good, because the insurance companies usually make out the best. You know, when you write and there are points on someone's license for maybe even a small infraction or a one-time deal.
Yep.
So I'm really glad to see that.
Yes, I agree.
Rob, quickly, I'm sorry, you did mention the point system.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't located in here. Is that something that would be,
Not on this law.
correct, that's
There are
only
no
for New York
points on
State.
town road.
no, that's what I'm
There's no-
saying, so it would be anything, it would just be
Correct.
above and beyond what.
Correct, so I'll give you an example, it's, vehicle and traffic law 1172A, the stop signs, right? You run a stop sign for 3 points under New York State. Town code, there's no points, it's a fine.
Right, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Andy?
Hi, Wendy Morel. I just wanted to go back to Law 89, and I think you mentioned it, Supervisor Petro, that you're going to train 2 officers.
We have one already written tickets, yes.
Okay, good, because when I was a police officer in New York City, local cops were not capable to deal with oversized vehicles. So we actually had a unit in every precinct that dealt with these oversized vehicles.
Exactly what we have.
Okay, good.
Well,
Thank you so much.
they're right now, they're writing tickets right now, and they have been for the last 90 days, I wanna say. But they're writing them with the New York State official.
Okay,
Once they finish their training,
Their
which I think
training.
is in 30 days, he's no longer needed, and the tickets are now coaching tickets.
awesome, thank you so much.
And Neil, I think Rob could attest to what some of these poor guys are going through when they get pulled over by these guys and what the fines are. I think I got complaint from one of the residents that his son had a truck and it was almost $6,000 in fines. We ended up, you know, working on that, but, you know, it is, when these guys show up, if you're habitual, you're not gonna like when the 2 officers pull that truck on the side. First of all, you're gonna be there for 6 hours. So, I think it'll be a deterrent for these guys.
I mean, if you take a truck out of service, that'll kill them too.
Well, that's it, that's what they will do, they'll take it out of
Sure.
service because it's not drivable. And
Right.
it'll go down, it'll get towed down to the
Yeah.
yard, the highway department yard, and it'll sit there until it's picked up by a licensed, company that's gonna fix it.
Okay, but just one other question on the impound yard, and I'm a little bit concerned about us having an impound yard of our own. I know we used to have it a long time ago,
Yeah.
then we gave it up, and I'm concerned that we may have all kinds of leaks and security and everything else. I hate to see us kind of pick up that liability.
It's locked now and it's cambered.
Well, he's talking about leaks for toxic,
Like
Oh.
fluids coming out.
oil leaks or gas
Yeah,
leaks, I
coming
mean,
into our properties and stuff.
frequently when people don't have a registered vehicle, the vehicle's not in wonderful condition anyhow.
Yeah,
So-
I don't think they stay long. I think that a tow truck has to pick them up when it's, I've never seen them stay more than, not even overnight. Most of the
Oh.
time, the tow truck's there picking them up.
Impounds, absolutely.
Usually
What's that?
30 days, after 30 days, it goes to another location.
No, I understand that, but I don't think on anything that we're doing now, the two officers are doing now, most of the time a tow truck comes and picks up these trucks.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
They're not impounding anything right now.
Because they're losing money on
Yeah.
Sure, but it's trucks, but I was thinking, thought you were talking about also
Cars.
impounding cars.
Yeah.
If somebody's driving without a registration, it might be impounded, in which case you may have somebody with no insurance, no registration,
No inspection.
and no car that's worthwhile because it's different.
Right, not drivable, correct.
And those do take 30 days, and then you're lucky if you can get rid of them.
Well, usually for an unregistered vehicle, you just give them a summons. You're not gonna tow the vehicle from the driver if the driver has a valid license and inspection, all that stuff, yeah.
I don't even think they impound for no insurance. I think they just write the ticket.
No, it's a summons as well, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the fine, so it's a 1-year revocation of your license and $1,000 fine, so it's a pretty
Wow.
bad one,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
rightfully so, because you can really
oh,
ruin
yeah,
someone's life by not having insurance.
yeah.
Anything else? All right, I have a motion to close town board meeting September 11th, 2025.
So moved.
Second,
the. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.